The Las Vegas Raiders just gave Shedeur Sanders an $80 million guaranteed deal. Let that sit for a second. $80 million guaranteed. And with incentives, this thing could push past $120 million. For a quarterback who was drafted in the 5th round. For a player who hasn't even hit his second NFL season. For a 22-year-old who just walked out of Cleveland, straight into Vegas, and said, "Let's run the league." You know what that means? This isn't just a contract. It's not just a power move. This is a full-blown organizational revolution. Because this isn't just about talent anymore. This is about vision. The Raiders just flipped the table and said, "We're not rebuilding. We're not coasting. We're not playing it safe. We're going all in on the future." And that future is Shedeur Sanders.
If you're into the real story and all the messy twists they don't show on highlight reels, go ahead and subscribe. And if you're sticking around to see how this Browns QB chaos plays out, you should definitely be subscribed.
This deal, it changes everything. And not just for the Raiders, not just for Shedeur, but for the entire NFL. Because $80 million guaranteed for a player this young, this early into his career, that's not normal. This breaks every unwritten rule about quarterback development, team building patience, and traditional earn-it-over-time culture. The Raiders didn't wait to see how the rest of the league felt. They didn't care about playing the long game. They saw a chance to lock in a once-in-a-generation leader, brand, and talent, and they took it. That's not just gutsy. That's historic. Now, let's talk about why this matters beyond the numbers. Because, yeah, the money is wild. The guarantees are unprecedented. But the ripple effect of this deal, that's where things get real. The second this news dropped, you could practically hear every GM in the league drop their coffee. Because this signing doesn't just make the Raiders competitive. It makes them relevant. Instantly. It puts them on every headline, every screen, every fan radar. Suddenly, the Raiders aren't just that team in Vegas. They're a cultural moment. A franchise at the center of the storm. Ticket sales? Skyrocketing. Merch? Already selling out. Betting markets? Flipping. Fan engagement? Exploding. This isn't just about football anymore. It's entertainment. It's business. It's global branding. And can we talk about the sheer drama behind this move? Because let's not pretend this was all smooth sailing. Just a few weeks ago, Shedeur was the face of the Cleveland Browns. The kid who somehow won the starting job as a rookie. The QB who had fans believing that maybe, just maybe, Cleveland was turning a corner. But behind the scenes, it was chaos, poor communication, internal dysfunction, power struggles, no stability, no vision. Cleveland didn't just lose a quarterback. They lost a quarterback. And when Shedeur saw that the house was on fire, he left. No apologies. No drama. Just gone. Straight to Vegas. Straight into a franchise that actually knows what to do with a generational talent. And the Raiders? Oh, they didn't hesitate. They pulled out the checkbook, tore up the old game plan, and bet the franchise on Shedeur Sanders. And honestly, it's already paying off. Because let's talk fit. There's no other quarterback in the league who fits Vegas like Shedeur. The style, the swagger, the spotlight, the city that runs on spectacle. Shedeur doesn't shy away from cameras. He invites them. He's not afraid to be the face. He's been in the public eye his entire life. You think a few million more viewers are going to shake him? Please. Vegas was made for someone like him. And now that he's wearing silver and black, it's not just a jersey. It's a statement. The old Raiders were tough. Gritty. Chaotic. The new Raiders? Still gritty. Still unpredictable. But now, smart, strategic, forward-thinking. Because you don't give out an $80 million guarantee unless you're planning a total franchise overhaul. And that's exactly what's happening. Let's talk impact. Because this deal isn't just about wins and losses. It's about influence. Shedeur's brand alone brings millions in value to Vegas. From social media to merch to endorsements to media deals. This is a player who brings eyeballs. Every time he posts, people click. Every time he talks, it trends. Every time he steps on the field, cameras follow. And now, with Vegas behind him, With this contract as fuel, Shedeur is positioned to become the most marketable quarterback the NFL has seen since, honestly, maybe ever. Mahomes has the rings. Burrow has the vibe. But Shedeur has the era. And you better believe the league is watching. Every GM reevaluating how they draft and develop quarterbacks. Every rookie realizing that media savvy, leadership, and brand power matter just as much as arm strength. Every franchise wishing they moved faster. Because the Raiders just changed the formula. This isn't just about football IQ anymore. This is about cultural IQ. You want a leader? He better know how to lead a huddle and a brand. You want a star? He better know how to read a defense and a room. You want a QB1? He better be QB1 on the field, online, and in the locker room. And Shedeur? He's all of that, already. But here's the thing. With great money comes great expectations. This contract is a message to the world, sure, but it's also a target. Every defense in the league just circled week one. Every media outlet just bookmarked every bad throw he'll make. Every critic is already warming up their overpaid takes. But that's the game, right? Pressure makes diamonds. And Shedeur Sanders? He's been under pressure since birth. This isn't new to him. This is just next. So what happens now? Now the real work begins. New city, new playbook, new teammates, new spotlight, and all eyes on him. Because now Shedeur isn't just trying to prove he belongs. He's proving he's worth it. And if you think that fire isn't going to fuel him, you haven't been paying attention. Because Shedeur didn't get here by chance. He got here by calculation. And the Raiders, they didn't just sign a quarterback. They signed the future. So now it's your turn. What do you think? Did the Raiders just make the smartest move in franchise history, or the riskiest? Is Shedeur Sanders about to take Vegas to the Super Bowl, or take the biggest fall in NFL history? Let us know in the comments. Drop your predictions. Sound off like the season already started. And if you want to be there for every snap, every scandal, every win, every meltdown, you know what to do. Subscribe right now, because this is just the beginning. The Shedeur Sanders era in Vegas has officially started, and you do not want to miss what happens next. So picture this. Shedeur Sanders steps off the private jet at Harry Reid International, slides on a pair of shades that probably cost more than some players' signing bonuses, and walks straight into Allegiant Stadium like he's been playing there for years. Not a rookie, not a second-year gamble, but a franchise centerpiece. The cameras are flashing. Reporters are circling. Fans are lined up outside the gates like it's opening night for a Marvel movie. And somewhere inside that building, ownership is smiling. Because every second Shedeur breathes in Vegas air, money reigns. Let's talk about that money for a second. $80 million guaranteed. That's not just a number. That's faith cast in gold-plated ink. That's a front office telling the world, yeah, we're doing it differently and we're not scared. And why should they be? Because while other teams are still fumbling around in the dark for their quarterback of the future, the Raiders said, let's skip the drama and just crown him now. And if that sounds dramatic, good, because this is Vegas, baby. Drama is the assignment. Now, let's really break this down. The last time the Raiders made national noise like this, it was probably for something off the field. But this time the entire sports world is glued to them because of who they signed. And you better believe that's not just a football play. That's a media empire acquisition. The second Shedeur put pen to paper, the ripple effect started. Let's go down the list. Sponsorships, flying in, documentary crews, already rolling, merchandise, sold out before it hit shelves, global licensing deals, in negotiations, YouTube content, in the millions of views before training camp even starts. This isn't just a player joining a team. It's Primetime 2.0, Vegas edition. And if you don't think Dion's influence is still swirling behind the scenes, think again. Because while Shedeur's the one putting the reps, don't forget, he's been coached by a man who literally defines swagger in American sports. You think Shedeur's not media trained? You think he doesn't know how to own the room? You think he wasn't built for this? Come on now. This is chess, not checkers. Now here's where it gets juicy, the locker room. Because anytime you pay a player this much, this early, there's going to be tension. You know it. I know it. The guys already on the roster definitely know it. And look, this isn't about jealousy. These are professionals. But football is still a culture built on hierarchy. And when the new guy gets the bag before half the team sees a contract extension, you better believe eyes start watching. Closely. How does he handle pressure? How does he treat the vets? Does he earn it every day in practice? Spoiler alert, he already has. Word from the facility is that Shedeur walks into every meeting like he's been starting for 5 years. He's not cocky, he's calculated. Confident. Polished. Dialed in. You don't lead by yelling anymore. You lead by commanding respect. And Shedeur doesn't demand it. He attracts it. That's the difference. Let's shift focus for a second, because it's easy to get lost in the glow of the moment. The money, the media, the hype machine. But underneath it all is a franchise that finally figured something out. You don't build dynasties by playing it safe. You build them by taking calculated risks on stars before the rest of the world wakes up. The Patriots did it with Brady. The Chiefs did it with Mahomes. The Bengals? Same with Burrow. And now the Raiders? They beat everyone to the punch with Shedeur. And let's be honest, they needed this. Because the AFC West isn't a division. It's a gladiator pit. You got Mahomes and Reed in Kansas City running a dynasty. Justin Herbert throwing lasers in L.A. Denver. Okay, we don't know what Denver's doing, but they're angry, and angry teams are dangerous. And now, the Raiders have the wild card. Not just a quarterback, but a cultural icon in the making. And the best part? He's only just getting started. Here's the bigger picture. This changes how every team will scout, draft, and develop quarterbacks from here on out. Old model? Wait a few years. Let the guy sit. Learn the system. Keep him away from the spotlight. New model? Embrace the spotlight. Build the system around the player. Let his brand bring the fans. Let his personality lead the locker room. Let his confidence fuel the franchise. Shedeur isn't just redefining what it means to be NFL ready. He's redefining what it means to be the face of a franchise. Because nowadays, you're not just selling touchdowns. You're selling narrative. And Shedeur's story? It's already bigger than football. But don't get it twisted. This isn't just about marketing. He's not here to just smile for cameras and boost jersey sales. He's here to win. And that's what makes this so deadly. Because when a player brings both substance and sizzle, when the tape matches the talk, when the stats back up the swagger, you're not just dealing with a good quarterback anymore. You're dealing with a force. And if Shedeur starts off this season with even a halfway decent stat line, say 3 touchdowns, 250 yards, clean pocket presence, it's over. The hype will go from loud to deafening. And the Raiders? They'll become the centerpiece of the NFL's new age. So let's recap. Vegas took the leap. Cleveland fumbled the bag. The league? Still scrambling to adjust. And Shedeur Sanders? He's walking into Allegiant Stadium with a smile, a chip on his shoulder, and $80 million that says, "Watch me." The Shedeur Sanders to Vegas saga hasn't just flipped the NFL script. It ripped out the whole book, lit on fire, and is now live streaming the ashes falling into Nevada desert. This isn't just a contract. It's a cultural moment. And if you're not watching closely, you're missing a generational shift happen in real time. Let's talk about the why now. Why would the Raiders, of all franchises, push the button this hard, this fast? Because they finally read the room. For years, Vegas felt like the NFL's casino floor sideshow. The franchise equivalent of roulette wheel, occasional flashes, mostly chaos, rarely payoff. But then, the Shedeur Sanders opportunity landed in their lap, and for once, they didn't blink. They saw the opportunity to stop being the punchline and become the main attraction. This wasn't about plugging a quarterback into a broken system. This was about blowing the whole thing up and building the system around the quarterback. You know who does that? Championship teams. You know who doesn't? Teams clinging to old playbooks and outdated hierarchies. And the Raiders? They made it loud and clear. The future isn't some veteran journeyman or mid-tier draft pick who just needs time. The future is now, and it's wearing number 2. But now we gotta ask the uncomfortable question. Can he handle it? Because, yeah, the hype is sky high. The contract is historic. The buzz is undeniable. But can Shedeur Sanders actually live up to the moment? Let's start with what we know. We know he's been playing under pressure since high school. We know he's been media trained by literal NFL royalty. We know he's handled millions of eyeballs, weekly critics, and a national spotlight with a calmness that would put a monk to shame. We also know he's not perfect. He's going to throw picks. He's going to have bad games. He's going to learn hard lessons. Because every great quarterback does. But the difference with Shedeur, he doesn't crack when things go wrong. He recalibrates. He adjusts. He evolves. You saw it in college. You saw it in Cleveland. Now you're about to see it with the bright lights of Vegas turning up to max intensity. And that's when he's most dangerous. When the lights are hot, the pressure's high, and the critics are loud. Because that's when he locks in. Now, let's talk legacy. Because, yeah, we're going there already. You don't get a contract like this without the L word floating around in the background. Not just a good player. Not just a strong leader. But a legacy builder. Someone who leaves behind more than a stat line. Someone who changes what's possible for the next wave. And that's exactly what Shedeur is doing. This deal doesn't just open the door for him. It kicks it off the hinges for every QB coming after him. Suddenly, college stars with brand deals and media presence aren't being told to tone it down. They're being recruited to turn it up. Suddenly, leadership is being measured by more than just quiet confidence and film room hours. It's about impact, charisma, cultural presence. You think nil changed college football? This Shedeur Sanders deal just changed the NFL. Here's another reason this matters so much. People care, like actually care, not just fans of the team, not just fantasy players, but people outside the sport. This is the kind of move that gets non-football people talking. It's on ESPN and Entertainment Tonight. It's being posted by sports pages and fashion blogs. It's trending on NFL Twitter and TikTok FYPs. Because Shedeur isn't just a quarterback. He's a storyline. He's what happens when sports, celebrity, and culture collide. That's why this deal is worth $80 million guaranteed. Because the ROI isn't just in touchdowns. It's in attention. And in today's NFL, attention is currency. Let's paint the picture. Opening week. Allegiant Stadium. Sold out. Black and silver jerseys flooding the strip like a wave. Shedeur runs out of the tunnel to the sound of literal thunder. Dion's in the box. Sunglasses on. A camera pans to Shedeur's face. Stone cold. No nerves. Just readiness. He takes the first snap. Clean pocket. Boom. 35-yard dart down the sideline. Just like that, the noise cuts. And the league knows. Oh no, he's real. Because here's the truth. For a while, people thought Shedeur was just a name. A last name. A brand. A highlight machine. But you don't get this kind of bag if you're just a personality. The Raiders scouted him. Studied him. Pushed every angle. Pulled every analytic. Tested his leadership. Evaluated his off-field discipline. Put him through hell in interviews. And came out saying, he's worth it. That's not hype. That's conviction. And just to drive the point home, this isn't just a great move for the Raiders. It's a wake-up call for the rest of the league. You better believe every franchise that passed on Shedeur is kicking themselves right now. Every team that let him slide to day 3 in the draft? Sick. Because this kid isn't just playing quarterback, he's redefining it. And the NFL is officially on the clock. So let's wrap it up. The Shedeur Sanders deal isn't about one guy getting paid. It's about a franchise reborn, a league disrupted, a new chapter being written right before our eyes. We're watching the rise of something we've never seen before. A quarterback who's not just playing for wins, but playing for impact, for culture, for the future. And whether you're a Raiders fan, a Shedeur skeptic, or just someone who loves chaos in sports, buckle up, because this isn't just a contract. It's the beginning of an era. While the ink on that $80 million contract is barely dry, the expectation tsunami it just unleashed. Oh, that's already crashing through every front office in the NFL. Let's make something clear. This isn't just a flashy Vegas bet. This is a declaration of war on everything safe, slow, and outdated about building a football team. No more waiting 3 years to develop. No more babying young QBs through meaningless reps. No more pretending that branding and leadership aren't part of the package. The Raiders just drew a line in the sand and said, "We're not buying stock in potential. We're buying stock in now." And now is Shedeur Sanders, the quarterback who plays with icy calm, but carries the cultural weight of a headline generator. The guy who can throw a 40-yard rope and land a brand deal in the same week. The player who's just as comfortable dropping dimes on Sundays as he is trending on TikTok by Monday. This isn't just football anymore. It's NFL 3.0. And Shedeur, he's the prototype. And let's not forget the pressure cooker that is Las Vegas. This city lives off heat, off stakes, off bright lights and short memories. You either make history or get forgotten fast. So for the Raiders to put their chips on Shedeur this early, it tells you everything about how they see him, not just as a starter, but as a franchise-altering force. The kind of player who can take a middling, confused, half-rebuilt team and inject it with instant purpose, instant relevance, and yeah, instant fear into the rest of the division. Imagine being the Chargers, or the Broncos, or even the Chiefs. You're already prepping for your usual rival matchups, and now, boom, the rookie you thought would need time to adjust is suddenly leading the most watched team in the league, and looking like he's been doing this since Pop Warner. And here's the real kicker. He hasn't even thrown a regular season pass for Vegas yet. All of this, the noise, the hype, the pressure, the money, the merch drops, the viral clips. This is before the first snap. So what happens after? What happens when Shedeur steps on the field and delivers? Not just flash, not just clout, but results? That's when this goes from a headline to a movement. Stick around, because the show's just getting started. And Vegas doesn't do intermissions.